Hey, how's it going, everybody? I said if I got to 100 days without drinking, I'd shoot a YouTube video. So here we go. First ever attempt. And I'm on a bit of a journey now. It's exactly 100 days. I think it was the 9th of June. We were on a family holiday in Dubai. We went to Bali, came back to Dubai. Just a holiday of a lifetime, and had a few drinks that evening and had a few too many drinks that evening. Felt fairly bad the next day and said, you know what? I'm just going to stop for a while and see what happens. I didn't put a timeline on it. I didn't say it's going to be a month off or a week off. And I find myself at 100 days, and it's been an interesting ride. And I think there's a load of stuff in that I can share with people, with you folks out there, and just to help you do the same. And that doesn't matter if you're a 50-year-old guy like I am, or maybe a youngster that's just started to cane the booze a little bit on a Friday and Saturday night. Either of those things, I think there's some stuff in it that I can help you with. So let me tell you the story. So I'm a 50-year-old guy. I work pretty much a 9 to 5. I've got a few hobbies at weekends. I used to coach football. I sing in a couple of bands, just local, covers bands. Married, 3 sons, grown-up sons. Get a bit of inspiration from them really, because they don't drink anything like I used to when I was in my teens and early 20s. So I was just reflecting on that and the way that society kind of pushes youngsters into drinking, and we just think that it's a normal thing. And after 100 days of not drinking, I think I've rediscovered a little bit of the energy and the, playfulness and sense of humour and positive outlook that I probably had as a kid of about 14, 15. And it gets taken away to a certain extent, because drink's this horrible thing that you shouldn't touch when you're a youngster, and then you have your first few beers or whatever and you don't like the taste of it, but everyone says you should do it, and off you go. You start drinking. And I started the year I turned 16. I was still 15 in the summer holidays, and I can remember it. I can remember getting drunk to excess, throwing up, thinking it was cool, doing it again the next day. Didn't really have hangovers or anything then. I mean, I was still growing. Probably stopped me from growing as much as I should have done. And then you end up in this cycle of drinking every Friday night, every Saturday night, through your sort of teens. That's party time, right? Then you might go to college. I went to university. That was just a beer fest, solid, for 3 years. How we got anything done, I don't know. And then after that, living with my now wife and raising a family, and drink becomes, again, something you go and do. You try and do at the weekend if you can get babysitters, or you drink at home. You drink bottles of wine. You have gin and tonics, and you become a little bit more civilized as a drinker. But you also lose count. You really do lose count. And I started using one of these drink calculator apps, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, like DrinkAware, I think it was the app. I started using that a few years ago. And I just had to turn it off because I was at like 35, 40 units a week, thinking, well, that can't be right. I mean, I'm hardly drinking anything. And I canvassed a few friends recently, and everyone's doing it. Everyone is exceeding it and lying to themselves about the quantity that they drink and the extent to which they need it. And I think these 100 days have given me this clarity of how kind of brainwashed we are by ourselves and by the societal norms that we're all subscribing to. I just want to help people to experience taking a chunk of time out of that. I have another friend who kind of inspired me. He was a great guy to hang out with. 3 kids similar age to mine, 3 girls similar age to my 3 boys. And just a party animal. If we ever got together as families and things, he'd do the crazy stuff. He'd drink heavily, always cope with it really well, never really fell about, never sick, never got angry, anything like that. Just a really fun drinker. And he gave up a few years back. He gave up for almost 4 years, from a point where I think I started to fear for his health a little bit, and maybe he had, and a few of us had. 4 years on, he's just started again, but he's in complete control. He has a couple of drinks here and there. He can go weeks on end without having it. He doesn't crave it in the same way. He recognises he had a problem. He's now got that problem under control. I'm quite surprised he chose to resume drinking. But it just led me to this thought process that said, you know what, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to say how long. I'm going to see where it takes me. If it ends up being a year and I start again and I feel I'm under control, then great. If I never start again, then great. So I want to tell you a few things that I've learned in 100 days that might be useful to you. Number one, the biggest factor of all, once the drink is out of your system and you've kind of got yourself, functioning normally, not missing it, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, the time that you get back from not thinking about it, not constructing opportunities to drink, not figuring out where we're going to go Friday, how do I make sure I'm not the driver, being the one that pours the drink so you can have a little bit more yourself without anybody knowing, all of those subtle little things that a lot of people out there will relate to that. The energy spent trying to be really smart as a drinker, concealing what you think is normal drinking, that energy all comes back to you as something else, as a positivity, as spare time, the time you get back on a Sunday morning because you don't have a hangover, the time that you actually lose of an evening if you just have a drink or two and that really nice voice inside your head starts having fun, talking to you about what you could be and what you could achieve and stuff like that. But while you're sitting there with a smile on your face on the couch with an empty wine glass in your hand, you're not doing anything. You're just visualising what might happen thanks to the drink that's helping you do that. When you stop drinking, you sit there and go, right, I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to do these things. And you suddenly get all this time back. And that might be time that you give as quality to your family and friends. It might be time that you spend on fitness, on a hobby, just career, anything. All of that stuff kind of gets a big shot in the arm, a big boost from the non-drinking. So that's number one, time recovery. Okay, so if you're finding it hard, just spot that, use that time wisely. And you might miss the drink a bit, but the benefits from the time will be better than the bit that you're missing. Number two, really obvious one, weight loss. Now I've lost about 4 kilos without really changing anything else. So in 100 days, and I've been a fairly stable weight. I lost about 4 kilos. I go to the gym regularly anyway, and I'm a morning person. I have to go and motivate myself in the mornings. And I was doing that even when I did drink, right? So, but now the calories I'm not gaining from alcohol, I'm still consuming the same number of, I'm still burning the same number of calories rather, but I'm not consuming them. So I've got a calorie deficit and weight's coming off me, right? And I feel a bit lighter, and that's just a great way to be, especially when you're 50, because your metabolism goes through the floor when you reach this age. You just don't need as many calories. And every pint of beer, roughly speaking, is 250 calories, which is about the same as a slice of cake. And wine's got to be about the same in a glass of wine, and spirits are something a tad less, but if you stick a mixer in it like Coke, then you're up there at 300 calories. So a 5 or 6 drink evening is half a cake, half a birthday cake. That's what you're consuming, like 6 slices of cake. And then you'll eat nuts and crisps and all that good stuff. So you just cannot maintain any sort of stable rhythm to your body and your diet whilst being a drinker. If you're a really occasional drinker, you might get away with it. But even then, it's a sugar spike, probably right at the time you don't need a sugar spike. So that's number 2, massive benefit, weight control. Third big benefit I've noticed, just the expenditure, right? Spending less on drink. That's money that you can put towards something else. I did something crazy when I turned 50. I said I was going to try and release some music. And I've kicked around that idea since I was 18, right? And lo and behold, I finally get it done, age 50, after stopping drinking. So something I knew I should do, people have said I could do and it would be okay, like I'd be good at it. It's taken me 35 years, and it's kind of shameful not to unlock your potential a little bit earlier just because of drink. I can't put it entirely down to that. I've had an extremely busy life as well, but I don't think drink has helped, and I've got this clarity of mind to just go and get stuff done. So I think you'll find it the same. Fourth thing I can tell you, energy levels, motivation, are somewhat transformed by not having drink in your life. Just a consistency of mood that my family have kind of mentioned has occurred since I stopped drinking. I've noticed energy levels at work are better. I think diet's related as well. I mean, because I'm not drinking, my diet tends to be better, so there's a bit more stability there, and not having as much sugar because the sugar's in the alcohol. But energy levels to go and get stuff done, forcing yourself up in the mornings is a really important step. I think if you start the day with exercise and you're trying to give up drinking, you've done something really good right at the beginning of the day. When you're at your most motivated, you're kind of giving yourself an endorphin rush. You feel good about yourself. You hit the day hard, nice and early. You've got your exercise out the way. You kind of don't want to spoil it when you get to the evening, but you will have that crash in the evening. You will feel tired. You'll feel like you've had a hard day at work. You want to decompress with a drink. And I found to get through that in the early days, just take the top off a cold alcohol-free beer, right? The habit of opening the beer, the perspiration on the glass or the condensation on the bottle, that cold drink, just the act of drinking, a bit like anyone that smoked in the past. You give up smoking, you hold a pen. It's kind of easy to do once you get rid of the bit that's addictive. So a load of it's habitual. I think 75% would be my guess of the drinking stuff is just habitual. Even if you go into a bar, have a bottled alcohol-free beer. I like to have a 0 Guinness, but poured into a glass so nobody knows it's a 0 Guinness. So I don't have to have a conversation about not drinking from those people that seem to think it's, I'm letting the side down by not being a drinker. Fortunately, the people that think like that seem to be disappearing. I think there's something like 15 or 16% of the adult population in the UK are now non-drinkers. That's my ramble. Completely unscripted little chat. I've got a stupid grin on my face because I can't believe I've got to 100 days not drinking. I can't believe how easy I've found it comparatively to when I've ever stopped before. I've stopped for a month once or twice, I think, in my life. Dry January and sober October. And both times, I'd already planned the piss up at the end of the month that I was going to celebrate the fact I'd done a month. And I swear in that piss up at the end, I drank as much as I would have drunk in the month. Almost going, right, you proved you could do it. You got it under control again. Hurrah. Let's go get pissed. It's not happening. So I don't know when this will end. I intend to post information and tips and anything helpful I possibly can, particularly for my peer group, my generation. So guys, ladies, 40 plus, you're just gaining a little bit of weight because your metabolism slowed down, your mood is affected, you don't know why, you're sleeping badly, all of that stuff. More than likely it's related to alcohol, and if you can find a way to push through, make a start on giving up, you'll be really grateful that you found that journey. So I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Like I say, I don't know when the next video is coming out. I'm just going to keep doing this, post a few things, but subscribe to the channel, see what comes next, and I wish you luck in your journey.